Next, let's dive into our What's New In sessions for architectural design, covering new functionalities for information modeling, building modeling, and interoperability and connectivity. Building information modeling continues to evolve, offering more powerful ways to model, manage, and visualize data throughout the life cycle of a project. Let me welcome Adam Kozik and Rainer Bühne, who will show the latest advancements in information modeling. Hello, Adam. Hello, Rainer. Welcome. Maybe you could tell us a bit more about yourself, your profession, and your competence at Allplan?
Sure, Ilona. Hi there. My name is Adam, and I'm working at Allplan since December of last year as a product owner for information management. And my primary role involves shaping a segment of Allplan software that is dedicated to non-graphical data. Additionally, I'm responsible for the integration of certain tools that are developed by external contributors.
Hello, my name is Rainer Bühne, and I'm working at Allplan for some years as a product owner for architecture and attributes. I currently care about the Smart Catalog and also about information delivery specification, short IDS.
Adam, what do you think it's important to have a tool like the one you've showed today in Allplan?
Sure. The tool I'm going to show you today is relevant to all users who want to start designing buildings and other structures using the BIM methodology properly. The most important part of the BIM is information. This could be fire resistance of door, the area of room floors, the acoustic rating of the wall, the thickness of a slab, and countless other attributes or properties. To effectively manage these metadata, analyze them, have the capability to modify them, and generate reports, you need a unified tool. And this is precisely what we are offering you today.
And do you think such tool will be relevant to majority of our users?
The Smart Catalog has several aspects. It is on one hand side an answer to connect different quantity takeoff solutions to Allplan, and also the new Smart Catalog editor makes it easy to adapt the catalog for special things needed in your architectural office.
Now, it would be great if you both could show how it looked like in practice.
In any BIM workflow, non-graphical information plays a crucial role. Users often need to access, modify, and manage metadata and object attributes. And to streamline these tasks and improve efficiency, we have developed a brand new Allplan tool called the Information Palette. This tool allows users to conveniently view, compare, validate, and modify objects and their associated attributes from a single place. By providing simple and fast control over information and adjustments, the Information Palette helps save time, allowing users to focus on other planning activities. And now let's take a look to a short demo. First step is to open the Information Palette normally as any other palette. The Information Palette is opened and docked horizontally by default. Then you can select as much elements as you wish and hit Fill Information Palette from Selection button, and all selected elements are immediately populated into the table. Rows represent elements, while columns represent attributes associated with these elements. If you like to show or hide some columns, you need to initiate Context menu by right-clicking on the column header, where you can easily toggle column visibility. You can also hide all columns and search only for a particular one, like for example, IFC attributes or maybe land. You can rearrange column order if you wish, and in case when you need to assign completely new attributes to currently populated elements, you can do it directly from the Information Palette context menu by hitting this More button that immediately opens Attribute Selection dialog, from where you can assign as much attributes as you need. You can search for the values. You can filter them based on various criteria and logical conditions. For example, search only for walls that are longer than 8 meters, for example. You can, of course, sort values alphabetically. However, one of the most important and probably most wanted feature is multi-editing. You can now select more than one cells from the table, put some values, and this value is written to all selected cells, like so. That's great, isn't it? You can, of course, export current table into the Microsoft Excel for further analysis. End users has also option to store all table data as favorite files and loaded them back when needed. Now let's briefly talk about the performance improvements made to the object palette. We understand that our customers expect reasonable response times when using the object palette in their daily work. However, the original object palette had unacceptably long response times, especially for larger projects. To address this issue, we have completely reworked and further optimized the object palette. The code behind this tool has been completely rewritten, resulting in a significant improvement in response times. In fact, we have achieved more than a doubled improvements in tasks such as loading, changing objects, scrolling within the palette, and switching through various sorting criteria. Dear customers, thanks a lot for your time, and now I'm handing over to my colleague Rainer Bühne, who is going to show you some exciting news in Allplan 2025.
Okay, thank you very much. I would like to show you briefly the idea between the new Smart Catalog editor and with the method design to cost. So, Allplan data can be linked to a database of rules defined in our Smart Catalog. With Allplan reports, you can analyze these rules in detail. The reports can easily be exported in Excel files, and then you can import it into your local quality takeoff solution. When people ask, how difficult is it to learn this design to cost solution? The answer is, if you're familiar with the attributes and formulas defined in Allplan, then it will be very easy. Why? Because our Smart Catalog uses the same attributes, the same formulas, and the same syntax as Allplan. At what stage of the design process can you use the technology? At all stages, from the early design to the final design. It is especially powerful in the early stages. Thanks to the Smart Catalog, you can generate multiple analysis items from a single object. For example, from just a simple 3D object, you can extract detailed information such as cubic meters of concrete, kilograms of reinforcement, and square meters of formworks. And how is that possible? What geometric information do we know about this 3D object? We know its length, its height, thickness, surface area, volume, and more. With this information, you can derive and calculate the dimensions of objects that you haven't even drawn yet. Let's start with a simple example. By using just the length and height information of your object, you can easily calculate the square meters of formwork needed by using a simple formula. Let's look to another example. Based on your experience, you can estimate the kilograms of rebar required for your component by multiplying its volume by a factor. For instance, you might use a factor of 60 for strip foundations and a factor of 80 for columns, and so on. I could create a dynamic formula also, where the rebar incidence information is managed by an attribute directly within Allplan. What kind of formulas can you define? You can define the same types of formulas you would use in Allplan. These can range from extreme simple ones using a single attribute like quantity, volume, and area, etc., to more complex conditional formulas where you can link custom attributes defined in Allplan. So this was in very brief the solution, the idea of the Smart Catalog and the design to cost solution. Thank you very much for your attention.
Why do you think it's important to have a tool like the one you've showed today in Allplan?
Thank you, Ilona. Good question, easy answer. BIM has already been widely adopted across the civil engineering industry. In BIM, information and metadata plays a crucial role. This means if you want to read, analyze, change, or manage this data in the most effective way, the information palette precisely serves for this purpose.
And do you think that such tool will be relevant to majority of our users?
Definitely for those who work in BIM methodology. The information palette will greatly enhance their ability to work with metadata, making it much more efficient. Users will have the possibility to simultaneously change values for numerous attributes in the most effective way. And the development of this tool continues, so I believe that the information palette has the potential to become a game changer and one of the pillars of the Allplan software itself.
Raina, now to you. Which customers are in the focus of the Smart Catalog?
Well, all customers that up to now have used Allplan BCM catalogs as basis for quantity takeoff. And of course, customers that are looking for a new, easy adaptable and modern material catalog they can use for their quantity takeoff solution.
And will the development go on for this tool?
Yes, very clear answer. Further improvements are already planned.
Now, Tomasz will join Adam to show us the new functionalities they bring for building modeling. Hello, Tomasz. Can you tell us also a bit more about yourself, your profession, and your competence at Allplan?
Hello, my name is Tomasz. Allow me to share about myself a little bit. I started my career as a building designer for about 3 years. After that, I joined a developer company as a BIM specialist, where I spent 5 years. During this period, I had the opportunity to work on large-scale development projects that heavily utilized building information modeling methodology. Since January, I have been with Allplan, serving as a product owner responsible for architecture topics. And that's briefly about myself. I will be showcasing 4 features collections that significantly speed up the process of designing curved walls, connections, and creating slabs. Additionally, this new development enhances Allplan's capabilities in modeling stairs and ceilings.
Adam, now you will show us what's new for door and window modeling. What makes this redesigned functionality so relevant?
Windows and doors have been essential elements of architecture from the very beginning. In today's world, we are presented with an extensive variety of doors and windows, each differing in shape, material, and purpose. BIM designers now have the expectation that they can create doors and windows with almost limitless possibilities, including unique design and, what is the most important, as fast as possible and in the most effective way. That's why we bring to you completely redesigned Allplan internal doors and windows modeler.
Okay, no problem. Let me share my screen then. Okay, no problem. So first topic from my side is advanced connections for architecture components. We enhance the creation of joints for curved structures to meet the growing need for modeling curved design in modern architecture. The joint connection tool now allows for the automatic joining of multi-layered curved walls, beams, upstands, and strip foundations. Furthermore, we have improved the chamfer function to be more user-friendly, and the fillet function now interacts not only with lines, but also could be applied to the mentioned architecture components. As a next topic, we have multi-layer slabs improvements or capability. This functionality of the slab accelerates workflows when multiple slabs with the same footprint have to be modeled. Similarly to the walls or roof surface, slab has now capability to contain layers with geometry formats and attributes can be defined right in the property palette. By switching to the overall entire slab object in property palette, you control general height settings of the top and bottom edge of the composite slab. That means all necessary settings are available straight in the property palette for faster workflows. Slope layers or a layer with non-consistent thicknesses are no problem with this new improvement. The significant improvements have been made for the stair modeler, addressing country-specific requirements and facilitating more detailed quantity takeoffs with recognition of all subcomponents of the stairs. Workflow and flexibility was enhanced by height handle, independent landing settings, and ability to overtake stairs regenerated path for efficient creation of the railing. And lastly, with this new version, we are introducing the entirely new feature, the ceiling modeler. This function allows users to model all types of ceilings impressively fast. You can create simple plasterboard ceilings with height offsetted fields in it, or let your creativity flow by grid ceiling capabilities. Even sloped rooms are no problem. Additionally, new ceiling modeler contains powerful creation and management of ceiling fixtures with no limits for placement or graphical representation of them. And that's briefly all topics from my side. Now I'm handing over to you, Adam.
Thank you, Tomáš. So let's go. Up until now, the design functionalities for doors and windows based on the original SmartPart script encountered numerous disadvantages, the primary concerns being performance issues and an inability to modify multiple doors and windows simultaneously. Therefore, in Allplan 2025, we have completely revised and integrated the internal door and window modeler, internally known as opening parts. This development includes significantly improved performance, substantial reduction in script size, option for multi-editing, correct rendering of profiles and sectional views, rabbets are now shown in 3D, interactive live preview in the modeler, revolving doors, double casement windows, and so much more. So let's take a closer look. So as you can see, the default buttons for doors and windows now insert opening parts instead of smart parts. Internal door window modeler is open immediately, and you can see that the GUI is almost identical to the previous GUI smart parts, so the users do not need to learn how to use it from the scratch. However, it is further optimized, and some new elements and settings, such as, for example, new frame types, are presented. You can create individual main parts and subparts of all possible doors and windows elements and define its properties, such as opening type, geometrical properties of the frame, and tons of other values. Great enhancement is completely renovated interactive live preview window, when you can drag and drop individual elements like so, and also insert and further modify multiple sub-elements simultaneously. Individual tabs of door window modeler are even more streamlined with some additional options like rabbet settings that can now be shown directly in the 3D. In the Setting tab, you can now see small thumbnails of individual settings, which makes it clearer. Brand new feature is completely new type of door, revolving door, where you can set so-called drum frame and define revolving opening tab, and maybe play with number of segments of this revolving door. Another new type of windows is double casement windows, mostly used in older buildings or historical buildings, so you can create double frame and set individual sub-elements either to inner or to outer main frame. Definitely, one of the most important features for everybody is for sure multi-editing. From now on, you can select multiple doors and windows and modify all of their attributes and properties simultaneously. The customers, thanks a lot for your time, and now I'm handing over to a moderator of this event, Ilona.
Thank you, Adam and Tomasz, for that fantastic demonstration. Of the features shown, I don't know which one is my favorite. All of them seem to bring many benefits for modeling tasks. And I would like to know more. Tomasz, how are the improvements you mentioned aligned with building information modeling methodology?
Thank you. The core concept of BIM is already deeply embedded in the Allplan. With the new improvements I mentioned, we are expanding on this by enabling designers to define composite slabs with related layers, treating them as geometry with information for both the main slab object and its layers. Similarly, stairs and the ceilings follow this concept, offering main components with their information along with various subcomponents that can also have information assigned.
And now to you, Adam. What were the key improvements made to the door and window modeler in Allplan 2025?
I would say overall code optimization for doors and windows modeler and huge increase in performance. Interactive preview allowing selection of multiple sub-elements, definitely revolving doors and double casement windows, and last but not least, multi-editing capabilities. Finally,
Improvements that increase performance is something everyone is looking for. And how do these improvements benefit users?
this development brings several benefits to users. Firstly, the intuitive user interface makes it easier for users to navigate and operate the modeler, reducing the learning curve. Secondly, the enhanced functionality allows users to create highly accurate and customized door and window design, meeting their specific requirements. And the most importantly, the optimized performance and multi-editing capabilities ensures faster modeling and editing, enhancing overall productivity and efficiency.
Thank you, Adam and Tomasz, for that fantastic session. You gave us great insight into the features that will improve building modeling tasks.
Thank you, Ilona. It was a pretty pleasure to talk with you today.
Thank you very much.
As projects become increasingly complex and multidisciplinary, seamless data exchange and integration between different platforms and systems have never been more essential. Curious to know what's new in Allplan 2025 for interoperability and connectivity? Well, let me welcome Veronica, who will show us the enhanced IFC exchange abilities and the brand new XREF Manager for a more streamlined and efficient design process. Veronica is product owner for the team interfaces. She's an architect and joined Allplan at 2016. She's responsible for interoperability and connectivity with a focus on format exchanges, especially EFC. Welcome. Veronica, before you start with the presentation you've prepared, I would like to know why the features you are presenting today are so relevant.
Well, for that, I have a simple answer, and it's just to save time. And because these topics all comes with wishes from our architecture and engineering offices, it's based on what they actually want.
Thank you. Then let's take a closer look how it looks like in practice.
So first thing about saving time is our new feature, which is Xref Manager. And this saves time in the daily work, and of course, helps to organize information. So for this, we are introducing this function to manage all custom external references in the project, which is a completely new tool, as I mentioned. And we will continue on the development also for the version 2026 with its new features. And Xref Manager, besides saving time, is also an important tool for the teamwork. I have here an example of project when work begins with just basic measurements. And this is an existing warehouse which consists of 4 separate zones. Those were measured by, let's say, other colleague, and they send us just an IFC file. They inserted this as an Xref, and when it is loaded, it's obvious that something is wrong, and we can ask that colleague to check that what's happening. And problem were that values of heights were wrong, and it means that we would need a newer version of the same file from that colleague. So when we ask him, he will create a new IFC files, he will send it to us, and when we receive these IFC files, we can manage it with really quick change. We can just open the Xref Manager that will lead us directly to the file location of the previously inserted IFC files, and we can just replace it by the new ones. We will reload it, all the files, and job is done. So to sum up, Xref Manager function, it helps us to handle complexity of the project with Xrefs, have overview of changed files by the status, so then we can work more effectively and reducing the time of searching for information what we need. Xref Manager is, as I said, completely new tool, but of course we didn't forget about already existing ones. We also save time with IFC Xrefs, which has now an option to view attributes directly in Allplan. So there is no need to open extra window with the viewer for checking element properties. And saving time is the same approach we apply for IFC import to simply achieve the information which is needed. We have now a 3D preview to check the content of file before it is imported, and we are also showing the spatial structure for import, so it is very easy now to reach the right information and import only the data which are needed. Here we also can skip the option of checking the IFC file in the viewer, or if it's needed, we also don't need to deleting some extra information which were imported previously. We can eliminate this only with this 3D preview and level filter, and this increases the effectivity of the whole workflow. Well, another time-consuming task is searching and manually importing content such as 3D assets or external materials, and the new content connector provides Allplan users effective web-based workflow. And here we extended our support for 3D Find It.
Interesting insights into the features for improving interoperability and connectivity. I'm curious to know what you like most about the new version.
Well, personally, I like the most the small feature tooltip. It's not much, but I think that it helps a lot to better understand how to set the IFC conversion.
How can the functionalities you have shown today have a positive impact on the work of architects?
I see this from the point of view of our team interfaces, and I think it is better information management and increasing effectivity of information and the data exchange workflows with better focus on the right information and when it is needed. And this saves time in the end.
Thank you, Veronica. That was great to hear about the improved exchange capabilities and news about external data management.